Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make these moist, delicious cinnamon rolls. I'm also going to show you how to turn them into Easter rolls, which are perfect for the Easter season because when you cut into the middle of them, the center is hollow, just like the tomb was on Easter morning. So I'm going to show you the trick on how to do that. First thing you need to do is we're going to make mashed potatoes, which I know sounds weird, but that is the first step. So you're going to wash your potatoes and peel them, cut them up into any particular slice, and we're going to pour them into boiling water to get them nice and soft. Be sure they're nice and soft before you take them out of your pot of boiling water, and we're going to turn them into mashed potatoes. I didn't get it filmed, but I added salt, milk, and butter to my mashed potatoes, and then I'm using my KitchenAid to mix them. For the cinnamon rolls, you're going to add 1 cup of the mashed potatoes, and then 2 cups of water. We're going to start that mixing up. Then you'll add a 1/2 cup of sugar, a 1/2 cup of oil, and 2 eggs. After that's all mixed, you're going to stop mixing it and you're going to add a tablespoon of yeast, waiting for it to get nice and soft and the yeast to dissolve. And then I'm switching to my bread hook, and this is where we're going to add our flour. You're going to mix in very slowly about 6.5 cups of flour. Just do it a cup at a time, making sure when we're dealing with yeast here that your liquid wasn't too hot. We don't want to kill the yeast. And so this is actually a double batch. So yours is not going to look this full, but it's about 6.5 cups of flour that you're going to start working in there. You kind of touch it there to see how sticky it is. Once it's got a little bit of elasticity to it, you're going to let it rise for about a little over an hour. I let mine rise till it's doubled, and then you punch it down, and we're going to incorporate any more of that flour back in that needs to be incorporated so that you can touch it without it sticking to your hands, and it's elastic and has that really just lovely dough feeling. And then we're going to start turning these into our Easter rolls after we get them, the dough all kneaded. So I'm going to cut mine in half, make it a little bit easier to deal with. I think I cut it in half again after this. And so the first thing I'm going to show you is how to make your typical cinnamon roll that you are used to dealing with. So you're going to roll out your cinnamon roll into a rectangle. For the filling, I did a cup of sugar, and it's actually a tablespoon of cinnamon, but I didn't have a clean tablespoon measure, so it's 3 teaspoons. As we know, 3 teaspoons is equal to 1 tablespoon. You're just going to mix that all in. That's going to be our the middle part of your cinnamon roll. So this is where some people would add raisins. My family doesn't really love raisins in our cinnamon roll. You're going to take some melted butter, and you're going to spread it all over that surface. This is what's going to make that cinnamon sugar stick to our surface. Make sure all the edges are covered and you have a nice layer of butter on there. And then you're going to sprinkle the cinnamon sugar on top of the butter until you have a nice even coating of cinnamon and sugar and it's all over your dough. And then starting at one end, you're going to roll it into a nice, semi-tight cinnamon roll. And then after you get it all rolled together, you're going to kind of pinch the dough so it sticks together. I'm going to show you how to cut your cinnamon roll. The easiest thing to do is to actually use dental floss. And you're going to slide it underneath your roll. You're going to cross the dental floss once you get that situated and pull it tight. And the dental floss is going to cut that much easier than a knife would. So you're going to just keep repeating that. I make my cinnamon rolls about 1.5 to 2 inches wide. And just keep repeating that all the way down. Here's the really fun part. I'm going to show you how to turn this into an Easter roll. So there's a hollow center. You're going to start with marshmallows. You're going to place it in your butter. Make sure the marshmallow is nice and coated. And then in the cinnamon and sugar as well. And this, it gets messy, but it's so worth it. You place the marshmallow in the middle of a section of dough, and you just wrap the dough around the marshmallow, pinching it underneath, and then I leave the top kind of rounded and place that in my baking pan. And that will be our Easter roll. And you just keep repeating that, putting the marshmallow in the butter and then in the cinnamon sugar and then wrapping dough around it. What happens is the marshmallow dissolves in the heat of the oven, and that's what creates the emptiness inside of the roll. You're going to let those rise for about 20 minutes, and then they're going to bake at the oven for another 20 minutes at 350. Well, I'm going to make my icing at the while it's cooking, and I'm using cream cheese icing, although you can just use a regular powdered sugar icing. So I did 7 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of cream cheese, and then to that you're going to add 2 tablespoons of milk. Then slowly incorporate your 1.5 cup of powdered sugar. You just don't want it to fly everywhere, so you try and let it get incorporated instead of just dumping it all in at once. I am, of course, doubling this if these measurements look a little bit bigger than you would imagine. And then also a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt until that is all mixed and combined together till it makes this just lovely, smooth, creamy frosting. After we pull those out of the oven, then we're going to frost our beautiful cinnamon rolls and enjoy.